92.7 FM at 1420 AM. ESPN Honolulu. ESPN Honolulu presents The Charlie Wade Show. Brought to you by Hawaii USA Federal Credit Union, HDS, Hawaii Pacific Health, Ruby Tuesday Hawaii, HGEA, HCamp, Castle Resorts and Hotels, Aloha Termite and Pest Control, and Hawaiian Financial Federal Credit Union.
What's up, everybody, and welcome. We are live here for the Charlie Wade Show down at Ruby Tuesday, Moanalua Shopping Center. Yes, that's right. We have a packed house here at Ruby Tuesday. Kanoa Leahey sitting next to the head coach of the Rainbow Warrior Volleyball team, Charlie Wade. Charlie, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. Aloha, Kanoa. It's good to be back here and looking forward to the show.
Yeah, anything cool happen over the weekend for you?
Yeah, actually.
yeah, not bad. It's a packed house here tonight. It was
I had a hard time finding parking.
That's right.
Literally.
That's right. That's when you know. And it was an incredible crowd over the weekend. Of course, 808-296-1420, the number to call or text. If anyone in here has a question, raise your hand and we'll track you down. You can submit a question. But it was an incredible weekend for Rainbow Warrior Volleyball as they take down UC Irvine in what was a top 4 matchup. Not once, but twice by way of sweeps. And at times, throughout those two matches, Hawaii looking, frankly, dominant. Now up to 15-1 overall on the season, 2-0 start in the Big West Conference. Today, some news. In fact, the last couple of days, some news as Hawaii moves up one spot from 4 to 3rd in the AVCA rankings. You had awards doled out to all kinds of Rainbow Warrior players, including today, AVCA National Player of the Week, Christian Tatrisky, who was just awesome offensively for Hawaii. And we'll get into some of those individual honors in a sec. But one of the first things you commented on, Charlie, after night 2 against Irvine, and actually you said it after night 1 as well, the turnout. You had over 7,000 on Friday. You had 7,200 on a Sunday, which is almost unheard of. And so what we are once again sort of led to understand is how Simplify Arena at Stan Sheriff Center has become truly one of the meccas of the sport of men's volleyball, and not just in college volleyball across the United States, but we're talking on a global level. How do you process all of that?
Hard to really. It's it's again. I don't find myself speechless too often, but it's really cool. Incredibly humbling. Like what we have built here over several years and a lot of hard work and just the unbelievable support of the fans. It's the coolest thing happening in volleyball right now. And I'm getting contacted by, whether it's recruits all over the world, like high-level players that want to be a part of it. Grad transfers are like, dang, I want to come. And then the alums that are just reaching out, hey, my season's ending, I'm going to come back. Got a message from Taylor Averill the other night. Jakob Telly's here right now. Eyal Zemet's coming in town this weekend, bringing his team. Everybody wants to come, and for guys like that, it really is kind of turning back the clock a little bit. They want to come back and just kind of bask in what is the the success and the glory of Hawaii men's volleyball that's had such a great tradition for so long, and where it really is a fun time to be a part of the program.
How much did you envision this when you first got the job now over a decade and a half ago? I know that this was one of your goals, was to establish this kind of winning culture and to thus once again make Rainbow Warrior Volleyball one of the hottest tickets in town. But did you truly envision this?
For sure. No, I mean, look, and I'm not saying that. That was the goal. I mean, I looked at not too long ago the 5-year plan that I put together when I applied for the job, and the goal was all along to get it back. I got here in 95, and that's full 30 years ago. 95 was, maybe the pinnacle of both the men and the women. Huge crowds every night. And I just knew that that's something that can happen here. And that was always the plan, to put a product out there every single night that the community is going to get behind. There's a lot of other stuff that goes into it too, but to be here right now and seeing this kind of get to this level, and and I've said this, I still believe we're in an ascendant phase. We're averaging close to 7,000 people a night. I think that number can go up. You look at the amount of talent that we have on the team right now, the changes that are taking place in college athletics, where there are more resources in the market, and that's a big part of our success right now. We're no longer dealing in the world of 4.5 scholarships. Wow, that's the scholarship amount. When you start talking about cost of attendance, Alston money, NIL money, we clearly have more than 4.5 scholarships dollar value on our roster, and only looking to increase that. We're looking on April 27th is the next court date where they may take the lid off this thing and put it to where we could offer 18 full rides. I don't think anybody in men's volleyball is going to 18, but the conversations that I've had with our administration, get me to 12 quick. We're not going to win less. We're in a really fortunate position right now where we're out in front of the pack. We're doing a lot of good stuff, and we want to stay there and want to keep going.
What kind of statement did this team this year, with this roster, an influx of new players, a lot of underclassmen, a lot of freshmen who are playing significantly for you, what kind of statement was made this past weekend, you think?
That we're one of the elite teams, and our performance, our resume is pretty good, but it solidified that our ranking is justified. Where we have been the entire year as a top 4 team is literally where we are. And for me, what I've said, I think we are good enough to be the best team. Are we good enough to be the best team every single night? That's what we keep talking about. We keep working for. We keep talking about how can we improve and keep getting better. I've said from the beginning of the season, this team will continue to get better all through this year and into next year. We have so many first and second year guys that it's a really exciting time. So to come out with what were 2 impressive wins against one of the very best teams in the country really positions us well going forward.
All right. What was the aspect of Hawaii's performance that, in your opinion, obviously they played well in a lot of different areas, but was there something that stood out to you the most of just how well Hawaii performed under those circumstances?
Yeah, there's a couple for sure, and stuff that we were, in terms of our progress as a team, the things that we talk about, things that we focus in on to work out. The one that is near and dear to my heart, I never liked it when we left the MPSF. There's one reason why I didn't like when we left the MPSF, because I had tagged the MPSF stands for must put serving first. And then we left the Big West, and I'm like, how do we do that? So I've now we're talking GTL.
GTL. All right.
GTL. And I heard guys today at practice even, and we saw some today. We play these mini games day before the game. GTL is good turns late in a set, late in a match. And that was what I really thought kind of hurt us in the Stanford match, where we played really good. Statistically, you look at it like, wow, we played good enough to win. They were better at the service line late in the match. And, there's such a small margin of error competing against these top teams. And frankly, in the Stanford match, we not only didn't put enough pressure on them, but we missed. You're just not having those great service turns. This past weekend, you saw virtually every guy in the roster being put in a position where they came back to the service line and had a good turn late. So GTL, that's our might have to get T-shirts or something.
Yeah. Somebody get on that, please.
But that was a big one for us. Like, that's something that we've talked about, and it really was a step forward where these guys – and it's not always throwing it up and swinging out of your shoes. Guys like Christian, they all found that they got – not only do they maybe have a 3-iron in the bag, they might have a 5-iron or a gap wedge, so they're not just pulling driver and swinging out of their shoes on every play. So that was the first, the good turns late. And then executing the game plan, really staying with what we have. These guys are so talented that sometimes they feel like they can do extraordinary things when you don't need to prove to me how talented you are. I know your level of talent. I need you to execute what I'm asking you to do right now. So the situational awareness, whether from the service line, offense, defense, and coupled with that is just the level of engagement. You know, we did a lot of stuff coming up over the last couple of weeks where we'd play like these mini games and really have to really focus on first team to 5, first team to 10, 15. So really having very present focus where you're locked in on what you're doing, not just playing a big game to 25, but really playing every single point on a more focused level. And I thought we were good at all those things this weekend, and it showed. Yeah,
because I think a lot of coaches in the practice gym, they'll do all right, it's 2020, let's see who finishes strong here. But you sort of hint at further incentivizing those mini contests, those mini matches.
Yeah, we did some stuff too where you had to pay the piper. You know, everybody got a little skin in the game, whether it was run or sit-ups, push-ups. But there was some physical, I wouldn't call it punishment, but you had a little skin in the game, and it was for the point differential. So every point mattered, and it elevated the level of play in our practice gym. It's something that we've done in the past, and really has paid dividends for us over the last several weeks.
All right, let me ask you about some of the individual performances. As mentioned, Hawaii swept the Big West Conference Awards. Christian Tatrisky was the Offensive Player of the Week and Freshman of the Week. Trad Rosenthal, who was in the house, by the way, everybody, he was the Setter of the Week once again in the Big West. Eleu Choi, for the second straight week, the Defensive Player of the Week. Let's talk about Christian Tatrisky. 6 kills per set in this series. .417 overall hitting percentage, even averaged a block per set. And on night 2, he was particularly excellent. 19 kills, hit .571. How do you characterize what he showed this past week and what he continues to on any given night show as a true freshman?
Well, there's two things. One, I mean, he just dominant performance. I mean, he's hitting balls that are violent. Like he's scoring, he's hitting hard balls. And I think back to the call that I got from Rado when I was sitting in the London airport, and Rado said, look, I think this guy can be Player of the Year candidate in year 1. And that's a big statement, but that's coming from a guy that was an NCAA champion and a national Player of the Year, and Christian showed that this weekend. We've seen signs of it, but the irony, too, a little bit, that he's literally on the court against the current NCAA Player of the Year and another guy playing the same position that was a high candidate for Player of the Year. So Christian performance was dominant. And again, what I loved about it was, not every single time did he pull driver as an attacker or as a server, that he's finding this level of maturity and kind of modulating his game when necessary. And it was a lot of fun to watch, for sure.
He gets the AVCA National Player of the Week award on top of everything. As a coach, what is the value of that, to kind of see just a level of reward for the work that these guys are putting in? I know it's not the priority. It's about the wins and losses, it's about the performance and the improvement on the court. But do you get a kick out of seeing your guys getting this kind of recognition?
Well, I do personally, but also say, like, it wasn't even mentioned in our gym. Like, we didn't mention it in practice. We don't. Individual awards come as a byproduct of when the team wins. If your team wins a lot, you get a lot of awards, and the more you do. So stoked for Christian. He clearly deserved. The numbers were really impressive, but we didn't mention any of these in the practice gym today. It's just not something we focus on. Like I said, individual awards come when your team wins.
All right, well, we'll get into a few more discussions about some of the individual performances. Plus, we have a couple of Rainbow Warrior players in the house. We have Kai Taylor, who is here. How about a hand for Kai? That's right, hitter, libero from Costa Mesa. And as mentioned, Trad Rosenthal, setter for the Rainbow Warriors, is here as well. So we'll hear from them a little bit later on. We'll get to some text messages that are coming in. You are listening to The Charlie Wade Show, and we are live right here at Ruby Tuesday, Moanalua Shopping Center. We'll be back after this.
This place they call paradise.
Warrior Volleyball program, Charlie Wade. 808-296-1420 is the number to call or text. We are also accepting texts for those who are watching on YouTube. But I did want to ask you, Charlie, about a couple of the other individual honors that were doled out to your team here this week. And we will hear from Trad Rosenthal in just a little bit. But the way he played, in your opinion, this past weekend?
Yeah, I'm really kind of a step forward. I mean, all these guys, and Trad certainly, part of the group, they're extremely talented, and they think they can do anything, anytime, anywhere. Like, I think we talked before about the play that he made at BYU.
Oh, my gosh.
The reverse dunk where it's like, how many guys on the planet even, like, that goes through their mind that they could pull something like that off? Literally, everyone I talked to in volleyball is like, I've never seen that before. So not only did he think that he could do it, he did it with zero margin for error. And, So what I think was really a step forward for Trad this week was that, he's learning to stick with the scouting report and stay just to what we're trying to do instead of, as things are rolling, going, hey, maybe I can try this or I can try that. And really just sticking with the game plan and closing it out. And it's a race to 25 points. And we want to get to 25 before they do. And nowhere along that line do we want to give them a couple just because we're going to try to see what kind of a freaky thing that I can do because I'm so talented. I thought he had an amazing weekend, and it translated into 2 huge wins for our program.
And we will hear once again from Trad in a little bit. Leahey Choi, I mean, is it easy enough to be happy for this guy to see him out there just playing and putting in the effort that he does, and now to see him getting the kind of recognition that he is receiving here over the last couple of weeks, and he is playing, quite frankly, the best volleyball of his career, and once again gets an honor from the Big West.
Yeah, and I mean, again, I'm the biggest Leahey Choi fan on the planet, and he's had the luxury, and I'm willing to admit some of this may have been self-fulfilling prophecy because I want that guy to be really good. I know he can be really, really good, and I'm running him out there, and he ain't coming off the floor no matter what. So he's had the luxury of playing through some mistakes. I think his confidence right now is through the roof. You're seeing his athleticism really starting to take hold. One of the things that we've been working on and talking to him is about he'll see the ball, and he'll leave the ground to try to play it, which is spectacular as he, gives up his body and does stuff. But really in any sport, when you leave your feet, the play's over for you. And what we've been talking about is like when you see the ball, once it's in the air, it's a projectile. All of us can actually really predict where it's going to land. And so instead of jumping and trying to swat at it, that he's now doing more of like going to the spot where you think it's going to land, use his foot speed, use his athleticism, and he's embraced that. He's also been more aggressive on serve receive. If you serve a slow ball near one of our other receivers, you're seeing him step in and take those balls and letting the 6 rotation receiver attacker do just that. I'll be the receiver, you be the attacker.
All right, let's get to some text messages. This texter is asking, in the third set of Sunday's game, when the score was about 6-1, you had an extended conversation with Coach Niffin. What did you talk about?
How I've been advocating for hiring a third official. So there is a dedicated replay official to keep those things just a little quicker. And I just think it is somewhat counterintuitive to ask a guy to look at a replay where he has to overrule himself, one, and then two, it just is not doing it all the time, so they're just not that proficient at manipulating the system. You see them, they're going through it. So if you have a dedicated official, that guy will get really proficient at looking at it. You look what's happening all over the world. Those replays take seconds, not minutes. I've said, too, like, look, if you get into the second song, this should just be done. Whatever the call was, just go with it because it's taking too damn long to go through that. And then we talked a little bit about something that I forgot to mention to him earlier. Look, the level of play in the Big West right now is, we've been the best league. Right now, what do we have? 5 teams in the top 10 in the country or something ridiculous or close, and all 6 are in the top 15. I think we really need to advocate for a day off in between these matches because your main guys are jumping a lot and having that day off in between. You look at basketball, without question, has a day off in between. They're Thursday, Saturday. This past week we were Wednesday or Friday, Sunday. Basketball rules allow you to sub whenever you want. Volleyball rules, men's volleyball, does not allow you to substitution that liberally. So these guys, the main guys, are on the floor jumping and hitting the entire time. So we absolutely deserve our athletes to have the same just concern about their health and safety, to give them a day off in between. A volleyball player is going to jump a lot more than a basketball player is, and having to play back-to-back night. Basketball would never consider it, and I think we need to move where in the league, and for us, when the league, because we're such a small league, that we, literally by the time we start league, basketball's over and there's no real conflict with the gym. And even if there was, we could work it out like we did last weekend. I think we need a day off in between for these big-time, high-leverage league games.
That was a long conversation that you guys had then at that stoppage, which tells you just how long some of these reviews actually are lasting. This texter asking, hi, Coach Saul, mentions that Irvine changed their lineup before the match, talking about the first match, I presume. Can you please elaborate on what changes they may have made, what impacts they may have had? They did tweak the lineup a little bit, and as coaches, that's part of the chess match, right? Is trying to anticipate some of that. How did you view that?
Yeah, a couple things they tried to do. They had Flexen at the opposite, and he literally was playing at a Player of the Year candidate level. They moved him back to the left like they had last year, and they put number 5, DRC, into the opposite. To me, that's the best lineup. If they want a chance to be the best team, you got to have those 3 pins. Those 3 pins are more physical than virtually any team in the country. UCLA might be close, and they're coming off 2 losses against UCLA, so I kind of get where he looks at it, that they need to do that. And then the other one, they tried going back and forth with the setter between Joe Carlos and Aiden Rigg.
Aiden Rigg, yeah.
Joe Carlos has been in college for 6 years. Aiden Rigg's been in college for about 6 months, so he's kind of stuck right now, and it's, he's looking at it as we go into the league, trying to figure it out. He's got a little time too, because the luxury we have in the Big West, where the league standings are really only for seeding. So I think he's really trying to figure out what he can do through the league play so they're the best team. When he hits the Big West, he knows he's in the tournament. And then has a chance to win.
All right, we have about a minute maybe left here in this segment before we take a break. Texter asking, halfway through the set 3 on Sunday, we sat looking at each other going, is this really happening? Did you see these 2 matches going down the way they did? This is from Manny.
No. I would have lost if you'd asked me to put the over-under on the match totals. I thought we were playing well enough, and won. Kapono Fei did an amazing job on the scouting report this week. He absolutely nailed it, and so we were very confident. We had an incredible week of practice. We were very clear on what we needed to do, and we knew if we could execute the scouting report, we were going to win, but I wouldn't have guessed that we were going to win 6 straight sets.
All right, well, we are up against a commercial break. Let's hear from the players now. When we come back, we're going to bring Trad Rosenthal into the fold. We will talk with, once again, the Big West Conference Setter of the Week. You are listening to The Charlie Wade Show, and we are live here at Ruby Tuesday at the Moanalua Shopping Center. More texts to get to as well. That's all coming up. Tuesday at the Moanalua Shopping Center. Kanoa Leahey sitting next to Charlie Wade, head coach for the Rainbow Warrior volleyball team, and now being joined by the starting setter for Hawaii. Trad Rosenthal is in the house. How about a hand for Trad? Trad, it is amazing. Your story. You are such an accomplished setter already. You've been recognized in so many different ways. AVCA All-American Honorable Mention a year ago, first team All-Big West Conference, all of that stuff. You are a sophomore, and you are still the youngest player on the roster. Yeah. That is amazing.
Yeah, I don't know. Everyone makes fun of me for it, especially Kanoa, because I'm like 2 years older than him in school, and he's still older than me. But like I should be making fun of him for that, right?
Yeah, right. Oh, why'd you have to hold yourself back for a year?
Exactly.
Or whatever it is, right? Yeah.
It's a little weird, but everyone treats me like normal, so. Not a big deal.
It's an interesting dynamic, though, because as the setter, you are such a de facto voice and leader out there on the floor. You're the one who communicates with the officials. And so was that at all a weird transition for you to be your age and yet to embrace that role with this team?
A little bit, but, I mean, me personally, I think I'm kind of used to it. I've played up in years most of my life. I've been playing with 16-year-olds since I was, like, 13, so I'm kind of used to being able to talk to older guys, be able to communicate with them, and it just came natural.
Can we talk real quick just about that, about your decision to graduate at the time that you did, to enroll at Hawaii last year, and to kind of get what equated to a bit of a head start in your college journey?
Yeah, I mean, Charlie came to me with the idea, and I liked it just because I'm looking at guys like Spiros and Chaz, and I'm like, okay, I've been watching these guys for 3 years, and I could go play with them. Like, that would be pretty cool. So it was a pretty quick decision for me, and then it was just more about getting the academic side done.
Yeah, and I'd imagine you feel like getting that year under your belt has really paid some dividends. You look so comfortable out there. It seems like you have made some incredible strides in your game. How would you evaluate and assess where you're at right now as a setter?
I think I've come a long way even from last year, and having last year was really important, just getting comfortable with Charlie, with our offense, with everything we do at this program, and being able to help other guys as they come in, because we do have a lot of new guys this year, and they needed some molding at the start. So
I guess that touches a little bit on this texter's question. This is for you, Trad. How has your experience at Hawaii shaped your development as a setter? How would you answer that?
I think just being here and being able to play against a lot of the best players and teams in the nation has been amazing. And, I mean, Charlie talked about it earlier, just being in the Big West. We got so many great teams out there that we play a lot. And Milan messed it up in the locker room, but he said we were playing UCI 6 times this year, and it feels like it because we see them so much. But it's really helped me playing against guys like that can push me to be better.
You once again get honored by the Big West Conference Setter of the Week. You averaged 11.5 assists per set, led Hawaii to a .374 hitting percentage over the weekend. What did it feel like to get those wins against UC Irvine and to do it in that fashion?
Yeah, it was really important, especially looking around and what UCI has done to other teams like close to us in ranking. So those were 2 really big, dominant wins. And it's going to help us near the end of the year, and now it's just about not letting those wins go for granted and letting some other games slip, you know?
I have to ask you about this, and Charlie mentioned it, and I think everyone's still kind of buzzing about it, but the play you made up at BYU where you had that two-handed, like, reverse dunk right next to the pin, where did that come from? Take us through how you even imagine pulling something like that off, and then the execution of it. Take us through that.
I don't really know, because I've never done it in practice, and I've never done it before that moment. But like I've made jokes about it. Like I've seen it. Someone did it on like a meme volleyball page, and I was like, oh, that's cool, but like that's so illegal. and then we got to the pin, and I was like, Keone served it, and he serves very hard, and it went pretty high, and I was like, I don't want to set that, and I was at the pin, so I had to go back. So it just kind of happened naturally throughout the play. I don't really know.
What were you thinking in the moment after you landed? You'd look through the net. You're like, oh, that worked. What was going through your mind?
I think that was it. It was just like, oh, wow, I did that. I worked. I turned around and I saw the bench, and they were all like, and I was just like, okay, like that was pretty cool, I think.
You seem to, and you can maybe include some of the other setters across the country, Moni Nikolov at Long Beach State, seem to kind of represent this new wave, almost this evolution of the setter position. You guys are doing, first off, you guys are huge, and you guys are doing these things that haven't necessarily been done, at least at a high frequency. The way you're able to mid-air sort of change the direction of the ball, better the ball, hit the ball in some instances, feign as though you're going to hit the ball and still put up a nectar set. Where does that come from, and how much are you thinking about trying to just do things in a unique and different way?
I think for me personally, it's really helpful because the coaches do push me to do that, and they really want me to do that. And honestly, I will give a big shout out to Moni Nikolov because I think he was the first guy to do that and make it popular and like put it out on a big stage. And then everyone else saw it and was like, oh, I can do part of that, you know. So it's just trying stuff in the practice gym, and then just as you get more confident with it, it'll come. And as they push me to be more confident with it.
So you're catching some of these Nikolov clips, and you're like, oh, I
think
I can do that. Yeah,
he does some pretty cool stuff. I'll give him that.
Charlie, it's interesting because it's a balance for you, I'd imagine, as a coach. You don't want to in any way discourage that level of creativity and originality. But like you're saying, you know, it's kind of a time and place thing. How do you balance that, and what's that communication with your setter like?
Yeah, for sure. And look, I've always said the setter is the most dynamic and the most creative position on the floor. And you really got to let these guys, you know, do what they think they can do. Joe Worsley did some just amazing stuff, you know. And look, Trad rightly gave Moni Nikolov some credit, but you know, when Jakob Telle started to do Jakob Telle things, he was a unicorn. He was a guy that was absolutely dominating the position from the service line, on the net, defensively, offensively. You know, he really did some stuff, and I think that was the start of this, certainly at the collegiate level, and he's mimicking stuff that he sees internationally. So the setter's position is, like I said, always been the most creative, the most dynamic, and now you're looking at the size of these guys and the athleticism. So I'm all for it, and I mentioned earlier that Trad, there's a context within you can be just this unbelievable athlete and do all this creative stuff, but we still have to be really productive and really efficient and not give away, you know, points to the other team in a close set when you're trying to do something flashy. And like I said, I think this past week, you know, was Tred's best year of his career, and really something to build on going forward.
You bloodied up your jersey, had to change your jersey on the first night. You wore number 21, which happens to be Kupono Faye's former number. Did he say anything about, hey, you make 21 look pretty good out there?
He said he wore it better, I think.
Of course he did.
Yeah.
Of course he did. We have a text here. This is interesting. Text for a question for Trad. I remember your dad, Mike Rosenthal, playing football for my hometown New York Giants. How did you get into volleyball and not football like your dad? This is from Rob from San Jose. And, yeah, your dad played offensive line at Notre Dame, 9 years in the NFL with the Giants and Vikings. Your mom, Lindsay, it should be said, Lindsay Treadwell, played volleyball at Notre Dame. You come from this incredible athletic family. So, yeah, how did volleyball become the thing for you?
My dad played O-line, and in the trenches, if you know football in the trenches, it's not very nice. So he didn't let me play football. He didn't like the contact, and I was just playing so many other sports that it wasn't worth getting injured through one. So that pushed me away from football, and then just my mom and my sisters playing volleyball kind of brought me to that.
And your mom's maiden name being Treadwell is actually how you got your name, correct?
Yeah.
All right, I like that. That's poetic there.
She came out and played like whether it was 95, 6, 7, sometime when she was playing at Notre Dame also. She came out and played in the Stan Sheriff Center.
She showed us some footage. Yeah.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Little foreshadowing as to what was to come for you.
Can you imagine this guy in a pair of cleats and a helmet and some shoulder pads?
I would get chopped at the legs.
How has the chemistry built for you with your hitters here? Now, you guys have played a good number of matches now, but you had to get adjusted to a lot of new guys and a lot of different styles. And even what we have seen, especially the propensity for Charlie Wade to make changes if he feels and deems that it's necessary. He'll put different swingers out there. He'll change the combo at the middle position. Justin Todd was the guy who got the nod here this past weekend and played extremely well. How is that for you as a setter in trying to establish the relationships with all of these guys?
I mean, we play with them so much in practice, and we flip them around a lot, and I've gotten enough time with each of them to develop a pretty solid relationship and connection. And then mostly with like the guys I play in game, it just comes as we play together and as we talk more about what set we want and like which scenario, and we just get more comfortable with each other.
Very important question here for you, Trad. What local food do you like most here in Hawaii? And if you say Ruby Tuesday, that'll probably go over very well.
Nah, I'm joking. It's actually very good. We had some ribs earlier that were very good.
But is there like a local delicacy that you quickly took to?
I think I just stick to the most famous ones, like 7-Eleven, Spam musubis, and just quick stuff like that.
Okay.
That'll get me going. Yeah.
He is a true adopted son here, folks. He said Spam musubis from 7-Eleven. It doesn't get any more local than that. Trad Rosenthal, congratulations on the recognition this past weekend, and congratulations on 2 really, really impressive victories against UC Irvine. Keep it up, man.
Thank you.
How about another hand? Trad Rosenthal, everybody. We're going to take another break, and when we come back, we'll have another Rainbow Warrior roster member. Kai Taylor is going to be sitting with us. You're listening to the Charlie Wade Show live at Ruby Tuesday, Moanalua Shopping Center on ESPN Honolulu. volleyball team, and now being joined by a sophomore member of the Hawaii squad, 6'2" hitter / libero from Costa Mesa, California, Kai
Serving
Taylor.
sub. Don't forget serving
sub.
Yep.
Yeah, well, that goes without saying here. But, Kai Taylor is in the house. Kai, how's it going?
Good. Yeah, it's good to be here. Thanks for
serving
having me.
sub is always something that I've thought was a really challenging kind of role to play because you just never really know when your number is going to be called. So how do you approach going about just being ready throughout a match?
Yeah, it's definitely more of the mental aspect going into it. Me and Kavai and Finn, actually, they're also serving sub sometimes. We joke about it. We think it's probably one of the hardest positions on the court, just going in. But yeah, just preparing your mind before the game, just visualizing before you go on. And yeah, just rip it into the 1-6 seam.
How much freedom are you given from your coaching staff as far as like how you want to serve it? Obviously, they're going to call out signals as to try to get you to serve into certain spots. But when you're out there, what is that process like?
Yeah, usually if there's someone specific who wants me to serve. More recently, I've been more of a defensive position going into serve. So it's been a float serve, put it on a guy who's struggling with that, and just play defense, try to score points.
All right. You are you come from a volleyball family, kind of like Trad. You are cousins with former Rainbow Wahine volleyball player Nikki Taylor, former Pepperdine standout Josh Taylor. How did volleyball become the thing for you?
Growing up and watching them, yeah, for sure. I went to most of my cousin Josh's matches up at Pepperdine. So growing up, I just wanted to be just like them.
Was volleyball something that was part of your youth? Was it something you were introduced to at a really, really young age?
Yeah. I also have two older brothers who played. They've also played club volleyball, so I went to all their tournaments. And yeah, I actually started out on the beach, and then when I was old enough to do club volleyball, I started doing that.
And at what point did Hawaii become a spot that was not only on the radar, but a spot that you decided, that's where I want to take my talents?
Honestly, it wasn't really on my radar until around my sophomore year of high school. I actually never really thought about moving out here. You're out on an island, and everyone tells me you can get island fever, and But, having family here, I grew up coming here and having family who played, and then obviously UH, they were so dominant. So getting to come here and play on a top team was really cool.
So no island fever yet to report. So far, so
it's
good.
been awesome so far.
Oh, that's fantastic. Charlie, Kai is kind of like one of those Swiss Army knife types of players, right? You can put them and plug them in all kinds of different situations and positions. How do you view his value for this team?
Yeah, look, Kai was the best player on the best club in the country has been Balboa Bay. He was the best player on every team through his junior career. By the time he got to be a senior, playing in the 18 and unders, he was the best team on literally the best team in the country. And a guy just, like he said, just the Swiss Army knife, got a lot of different skills. And guys like that are really valuable. And I think you're going to see even more so that guys like that become more valuable as the roster shrink to 18. You're going to need guys that can play multiple positions, and that's something he's really good at. And, something that I've always valued and thought, this is a guy, and there's always the connection too, right? Because he had the connection to Hawaii. It was pretty easy early on. This is a guy that really wants to be here, and he's got a really wide skill set, and thrilled that he decided to come and is on part of our roster. Yeah,
good to have you here as well, Kai. And I kind of wanted to ask you just how you would describe your experience here in Hawaii, how you would describe your time as a Rainbow Warrior so far.
Yeah, I think I made the right choice. Just being a part of this team and having the culture here. There's definitely nothing else like it. So I'm very fortunate to be here and be on this team. And yeah, there's just nothing like, could have gone somewhere else and had a normal college life, but I feel like being here, it's so different from everywhere else. And I think I just really wanted that experience, and it's been amazing so far.
What did you think of the statement your team made this past weekend to do what this team did against UC Irvine? How did you process that?
Yeah, like Coach Charlie said, it was, I don't think we expected to just sweep them 6-0 both nights. So that was pretty cool. They're a great team. And like Coach has been saying, we haven't accomplished anything meaningful yet.
All right. Continue, please.
No, that's all. Yeah.
We wanted to get to some text messages. We try to squeeze them in here towards the end. Shelly is texting in, we play Lindenwood this week. Never heard of them. Where are they located? Is this a new program? What challenges do they pose for us? I know Clay Weeder played there, correct? Go Warriors. You want to take this, Charlie?
They've been around for a while. Clay did play there. They're in, if not St. Louis proper, but pretty close to St. Louis, Missouri. We played there several years ago. And actually, Clay came first, and then he was kind of pushing, and their coach wanted to come, which I thought was, kind of showed a lot of him, where not often do you want to go play against a team where your best player is on the opposing team. But they wanted to come out, and we had a puka on the schedule, and it worked out well. They also they don't have a great win-loss record right now, but their best player has been out for about a month, and we got a little inside intel because we got a little inside intel, and we're hearing that they're opposite. The best player on the roster is going to play this weekend, so really looking forward to a competitive series.
How convenient, right? How convenient there for this big series. Lindenwood 4-9. The matches are Wednesday and Friday. And like you said, maybe the win-loss record doesn't pop out at you, but they've gone 4 sets with Ball State, Ohio State, CSUN, and UC San Diego. They went 5 sets with McKendree, a team that you played.
And Ball State, it was like 28-26 in the fourth.
Yeah.
They were ready to send it to fifth without their best player. They've literally played the last month without their best player, so should be a fun weekend.
Kai, how important is it for this team to not maybe get overly satisfied with the performance this past weekend, and you have the Outrigger Invitational that's on the other side of this series, and just try to maintain that level of focus and intensity for Lindenwood?
Yeah, I think it's just not taking it for granted, just not getting too comfortable, after Stanford, every team is dangerous, and any team on a good night can beat us if we're not playing at a high level. So just continuing that and trying to increase this over this season.
All right. Well, texter asking, does the NIL and the landscape with regard to the NIL rear its ugly head, as this texter describes it, in collegiate men's volleyball? Charlie, it most certainly does, and there is also a new tool that has been established to kind of assist in that effort, the Engate app and program. You want to embellish on that?
Yeah, look, and, the NIL, and I'll not that I'm trying to scold the texter, but if you view NIL as, what was the phrase?
Rearing its ugly head.
Ugly head. That's get off my lawn, guy. Like, you can't. You want to view it as a negative? Go ahead. But the reality is, NIL has, and will determine the NCAA champion in every sport. You better embrace it. You better get out and be a part of it and get in front of it. And if you don't, you're literally saying out loud that you have no interest in winning, because it's about winning. And so you mentioned the end gate Sunday was the first time that they have this in-house. You have the ability to donate. And I want to try to kind of paraphrase, but look, NIL, like I just said, is going to determine the winner in every sport. We had for the first time this, and we're the first team in the country to have this kind of thing where you are literally giving in the moment, and you can keep putting money in the bucket. You can pick a player, and you can give it to an individual player. You can put it in the team bucket, and then then we can put it into the collective and distribute it that way. But this is absolutely where college athletics are headed. So every time you come to the arena going forward, you're going to have to donate. And look, you want to pick something, go, hey, every time a guy gets an ace, I'm going to give the guy X. You want to give the guy, every time a guy, gets a block, I'm going to give it, any way you want to play that game with yourself. You're seeing somebody that has a good performance and you want to reward them for that. But that is absolutely the future of college athletics. They can't put the genie back in the bottle. NIL is here to stay, and like I said, it's going to be a huge part of success of programs, and ours certainly is one of them.
And Engate did some pretty significant numbers on Sunday, if I'm not mistaken, either.
Yeah,
right?
I don't quite. I don't feel really confident saying that I know the correlation between the points and the dollars.
It's a reward system,
right?
But yeah.
But Kurt may have earned close to $1,000 on Sunday. He was the highest point
Not
getter,
bad.
and those things become really impactful as this gets out on social media, and you're a recruit, and you're going, wait a minute, I can go and play at Hawaii, and regardless of whatever I negotiated, I can earn $1,000 a night for every home game that I play on that team. Like I said, it's here, it's a real thing, and let's go.
Kurt's picking up the next tab, right?
Yeah,
Kai?
seriously.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, Charlie, we got under a minute and a half to go. I kind of want to just give you the floor here as you get ready for another series against Lindenwood. Anything that you kind of want to touch on and communicate?
Well, I think we got to start with or end with where we started. Just the support we're getting, and extends into this NIL stuff, but just the sheer number of people that keep coming out and supporting our team. It is really significant in our success. We've said this many times. We're not winning for the fans, even though we try every night. We're winning because of them. The momentum and the success that we're having is really correlated to the support that we're getting from the community. It's incredibly humbling. It's incredibly exciting to be a part of this program right now, and just want to encourage anyone. I've said we're still in an ascendant phase. We're showing up every day, working to get better. It's an exciting time for the program. Keep coming out, keep supporting the program. We're going to do everything we can to keep putting an entertaining product on the floor for you every night that you come.
All right. Well, we look forward to this week. Want to thank everyone who showed up here for the Charlie Wade Show. Thanks to Rick Nakashima, Gary Dickman, the rest of the gang here at Ruby Tuesday at the Moanalua Shopping Center. And, of course, Trad Rosenthal, Kai Taylor, thanks for coming by. And we wouldn't have the show without Charlie Wade, everybody. We'll see you next time here on the Charlie Wade Show on ESPN Honolulu.